Imagine a young mother who vanished while jogging. For 3 weeks, her family pleads for her return. The community searches desperately. Then, on Thanksgiving morning, she's found. She's been beaten, branded, and chained. It's a miracle. Except it wasn't. None of it was real. This is the story of Sherri Papini, the woman who faked her own kidnapping and fooled an entire nation. This is Cold Trail. November 2nd, 2016, Redding, California. Keith Papini arrived home expecting to find his wife Sherri and their 2 young children, but the house was empty. He called Sherri's phone, voicemail. He contacted the daycare. The kids were still there. Sherri never showed up. Keith drove around searching. Then he found something terrifying. Sherri's iPhone lying on the ground near a rural intersection. Her headphones were tangled in the grass nearby, but no sign of Sherri. Keith immediately called 911. Police launched a missing person investigation. They interviewed Keith extensively and searched the area. No signs of struggle, no blood, just a phone and headphones. Sherri Papini, a 34-year-old mother of 2, had vanished. The case quickly gained national attention. News outlets covered it daily. The community organized search parties. Keith appeared on television, pleading for his wife's safe return. Anonymous donors offered a $50,000 reward for information. For 3 weeks, Sherri's disappearance dominated headlines. Her family described her as a devoted mother who would never willingly leave her children. Hundreds of volunteers joined search efforts. Police investigated ex-boyfriends, co-workers, anyone who might have had contact with Sherri. They found nothing suspicious. Keith passed a polygraph test. His alibi was solid. Police suspected a stranger abduction, but without evidence, the case stalled. Then, on Thanksgiving morning, everything changed. November 24th, 2016. A motorist driving along Interstate 5, 150 miles south of Redding, spotted a woman on the side of the highway. She was thin, disheveled, with chains around her wrists. Police arrived and were stunned. It was Sherri Papini, alive. She had lost significant weight, had bruises all over her body, and a brand burned into her right shoulder. Her nose was broken. Her hair had been cut. It was a Thanksgiving miracle. The nation celebrated, but questions began to surface. From her hospital bed, Sherri told police she'd been abducted by 2 Hispanic women while jogging. They held her at gunpoint, forced her into a dark SUV, and held her captive for 3 weeks. They barely fed her, beat her repeatedly, burned her with a branding iron, and cut her hair. She was chained to a bedpost. Then, on Thanksgiving morning, they released her on the highway. Sherri said she had no idea why she was taken or released. Police began their investigation. Police and FBI analyzed the physical evidence. DNA testing came back with shocking results. Male DNA was found on Sherri's clothing and body. Not female DNA, as expected, if her captors were 2 women. This was a critical inconsistency. Despite being held captive for 3 weeks, beaten and branded, Sherri had no life-threatening injuries. Her weight loss wasn't consistent with someone starved for 22 days. The brand was superficial. Investigators began to suspect Sherri's story didn't add up. Investigators tracked the male DNA to James Reyes, Sherri's ex-boyfriend from years earlier. He lived 600 miles south in Costa Mesa. When FBI agents confronted him with DNA evidence, he confessed. Sherri had not been kidnapped. She'd been staying with him the entire time. Sherri contacted James days before her disappearance, claiming she needed to escape an abusive situation. On November 2nd, she drove to meet him, left her phone on the roadside, and stayed at his apartment for 3 weeks, voluntarily. As Thanksgiving approached, Sherri panicked. She needed to go home but needed a story. She asked James to help create injuries supporting her kidnapping tale. Sherri inflicted most injuries herself. She burned herself with a wood-burning tool to create the brand. She hit herself to create bruises. She starved herself to lose weight. James cut her hair and reluctantly helped. On Thanksgiving morning, he drove her to the highway, placed loose chains on her wrists, and dropped her off. The entire kidnapping was a hoax. Now, when the truth emerged in 2022, the nation was stunned. Sherri had lied about everything, wasting thousands of law enforcement hours and costing taxpayers over $300,000. She was arrested for making false statements and mail fraud. In September 2022, Sherri was sentenced to 18 months in federal prison and ordered to pay full restitution. Her lies had real consequences. Her children believed their mother had been tortured. Her husband divorced her. The community felt betrayed. Sherri Papini's case reminds us that not every story is what it seems. This has been Cold Trail. Subscribe for more shocking true crime cases. Until next time, stay curious and always question the story.
Thanks for watching.